Jam. Toon Jam.
Hello and welcome to Toon Jam. I am Matt.
And I'm J-Man.
And today we're talking about a fresh show on the block.
Oh, yes.
It came out last week. So fresh.
Ooh.
Ooh, you can feel the crispness.
Still warm.
What is that show? Well, I'll tell you. It's the Cuphead Show. There you go. I've given you a moment just to take that in.
Just let that sink in.
That's again the Cuphead Show. Yeah. Okay. let me tell you a little bit about the Cuphead Show. It's an animated television series developed by Dave Wasson for Netflix. Wasson previously created the Cartoon Network series Time Squad and other shows such as Making Friends, The Buzz on Maggie, and Star versus the Forces of Evil. This series is based on the 2017 video game Cuphead by Studio MDHR. Chad and Jared Moldenhauer, the creators of Cuphead, serve as executive producers, along with Wasson and CJ Kettler from King Features Syndicate, and with Cosmo Sergeson serving as co-executive producer. The series was released worldwide on February 18th. I told you it was fresh, 2022.
Oh.
So there you go. Fun news for if you've already watched it and are a fan. The first season is 12 episodes, but prior to its release, it was announced that on January 25th, 2022, that the series had previously been renewed by Netflix for a second and third series upon a 48 episode order issued, which includes the first season. It was later announced that a second and third season will be airing later this year. You get them all this year, baby.
Crazy. So
yeah, there you go. Pretty cool stuff there. If you're a fan, obviously. So let's. Have you watched this in the run up to this week?
No, it was just too fresh. It was so fresh. I hadn't caught up, and I had lingering other Netflix priorities over the weekend. had to finish that stuff off, and just it was just fresh out the box. So I'd seen it was coming on the coming soon thing, and was like, oh yeah, the Cuphead Show's coming, yeah, and then forgot when it actually arrived. So
so. Just the first episode for you then?
Yes.
Yeah, I've watched 6 episodes. I've watched all 3 seasons. No, so I've watched about half the first season. I think it's 6 episodes, if not 5. But I tried to jump on it early. I was like, oh yes, it's out. I'll watch a few. But it's that fresh that I just couldn't keep up.
There you go.
There you go. Had you played the game?
I had actually, yeah. I own the game digitally, of course. You know how we do in the in this era. I've got the game. I've played probably several hours of it, but for those who don't know, it is fiendishly difficult.
Yeah.
So have I got far? I don't think so. No.
Do you know what? It's one of those things. I've got the first volume of the comics of it. So they made a little comic strip of it, which is really good. And was desperate for the game because it's obviously cartoon style.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't need to tell you guys that that's my jam, my Toon Jam. But I finally played the game. I did the first level and was like, I'm never ever going to play this again.
Yeah,
I hate this.
It's so
heartbreaking.
Difficult. Yeah.
So essentially, I love everything about Cuphead and what it stands for, and the art style and the effort put into it, except for just the game itself.
It's so strange that they went. I don't really understand how how they went for something that was like very like seemingly kid friendly almost. Do you know what I mean? Like it's obviously classic cartoons where it's whole
the effort
thing.
to make it like a cartoon as well.
Yeah,
It's beyond anything that anyone's really done in a game.
Oh yeah. And yeah, the game itself is so hard. Like I imagine, like I'd love to see the actual stats on how many people got past like level 3, because it's just basically every game, every level is a boss fight, and you have to like a very difficult boss fight, and you have to pretty much play it over and over again to figure out their moves, and so how to sort of like avoid them and such. And it's a real grind from the get-go. So yeah, very, very strange. In fact, it was infamously so difficult. One famous games reviewer didn't even make it through the tutorial.
Yeah, I did the same with that. I kind of downplayed how bad I was at it, but yeah, I didn't get past that either.
So I think he worked for like a big like review company, and was known for like not making it past the tutorial and shooting down Cuphead. And it turns out now that he is now a big fan of NFTs. So turned into a crypto bro. So Twitter is currently enjoying that story arc, that character arc for that guy.
Wow, there you go. I mean,
that's interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, it's a crazy thing. I love the property, hate the game. I mean, I even listened to the soundtrack of the game.
Not knowing what
I'm not having played through it. It's like, oh, this is belting.
I know. I even went back to it recently, because obviously 2017 is when it came out. I probably played a few levels and was like, I'll probably never play this again. But I thought, I think my patience has sort of increased with games recently a little bit, in certain fields at least. So I thought, I'll go back and try it again, just because, again, I like the aesthetic and everything, and I kind of want to see what they've done with the levels and what characters they've kind of come up with and stuff. And it's just so it's just, I did another level, like I completed, defeated another boss essentially, but it's just so, like, it wasn't a fun experience. Do you know what I mean? It's not fun to play. It's just irritating.
So I mean, straight off the bat, my request, if anyone from the creative team is listening, can you make like another easier game, maybe like a platformer or something? Just so that I can play it.
Yeah, I think there is like an easy mode you can switch on, isn't there? Like,
I don't know. I looked for it. I couldn't find it. This is the only difficulty.
Yeah, I'm sure there's like, I can't remember what I don't know whether it like doesn't give you something like maybe achievements or something, But there's a way you can make it easier and stuff. But I might have to just do that just to make my way through it or whatever.
Yeah, just to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's very strange. But yeah, I mean, clearly they wanted to make this show when they made.
Well, that's it, because you kind of think like, oh man, why isn't this a show? But here
we are.
Dreams do come true.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people would have been more disappointed if it had been the other way around. Like they watched the show and was like, "This is really cool." Then they released a game and it's like, "Oh, I love the show," and then they just got beat up like for 45 minutes at a time. Like, so they might have done it the right way around at least. Yeah,
they built the bus.
I don't know how long it's been in production, but it seems like a pretty good turnaround for 48 episodes.
Yeah, it does. Considering as well, like, before we go in, let's I'm about to start talking about stuff here, so let's talk about the ratings. What does everyone else think about it? So we have an IMDb rating, of course, and we do have an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. So I'm going to take your guesses. First, IMDb.
IMDb, I'm going to go 7.8.
Okay, and Rotten Tomatoes?
90%.
Okay, right. So let's go with IMDb first. You said 7.8.
Yeah.
I can tell you that it's 7.9.
Oh,
that is just, you basically got it there. You can have that one, I think.
Cheers.
But with a point away.
Point away.
Well played. So there you go. Yeah, you top on that one. And you said 90 on audience score.
Yeah.
It's actually 82.
That's not too far then.
No, it's not too far. But
it's not close enough.
I mean, you got it on IMDb, which arguably is the harder one, actually.
Yeah.
It's had 1.7 thousand ratings as well on IMDb.
Really? Wow, that's more than some shows that have been out for like 3 years. in like 3 days.
So what about Twitter? Is Twitter? I imagine they've got it's got something to say about the Cuphead show.
Oh yeah. Twitter seems to enjoy Cuphead. We've got Mastered Blue, who says Mugman deserves more attention. Spoilers. He saved Cuphead's soul. Which is a very good point. Yeah.
I was watching this, thinking like, really, it is the Cuphead and Mugman show.
Yeah.
I feel like that possibly should have been in the, in the title, but I guess they're just going off the game.
Yeah. But I think Cuphead does get all the glory because he's the first selection on the game, and like it's called Cuphead. He's just got that more adventurous kind of personality. Mugman's just kind of the, he's the sidekick almost.
He's the Luigi, isn't he?
Yeah.
Of the relationship.
So and many people prefer the Luigi. So
yeah, exactly. That's that's what's good about a sidekick, I think, is that people like the almost underdogness.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, very true. Yeah. Good point. Which so far in episode 1, that's pretty glossed over. I don't know about 3 episodes. And we've got Computer Angel, who says, the Cuphead show makes me so happy. I get giggly just thinking about it.
Well, there you go.
Wow, I don't think I've ever had a show that does that to me.
Not the only one. This is what I've been waiting for. Finally, I can enjoy something that, I can't usually enjoy. You just want to enjoy something, and you just it's like you're trying to fit your square peg into the round hole.
Yeah.
No longer is that a worry.
That's it. Wow.
But yeah, that's an extreme reaction. Just a thought.
Imagine just having that at the bank. That's pretty good, Just like, I could do with the perk. I'll just think about Cuphead now.
Yeah, and he's.
We've got Matty the Mouse, who says, man, watching the Cuphead cartoon really makes me want to replay Cuphead. Until I remember, oh yeah, I really don't like that game. Lol.
I mean, this is exactly what we've been saying.
So true, Matty the Mouse. There's got to be I really think the ratio is in our favour on this of people who don't enjoy the game.
Yeah, I think surely for once people will agree with us.
Yeah,
it's got to be the case.
I think we're in the majority. Imagine making a game people want to play but hate so much.
Like people love it. People love it, but hate the game.
Hate playing it.
They love everything you've done except for the game itself.
They want to play your title, but they actually hate the experience of it.
Yeah.
What a niche. What a bizarre approach. But that's Cuphead.
Yeah.
And then finally we've got Bucket Art, who says, I haven't watched the Cuphead show because I'm afraid of how I'll act about the dice head guy.
Wow. Okay.
So I think that alludes to something mysterious there. I don't know whether that's it could be they hate this face and they don't want to punch holes in the wall, but I suspect it's something else.
Something to do with the game, maybe. Is he a particularly aggravating boss?
I mean, if anyone got that far, who knows? It could be something else entirely, though. It could be they quite like the dice head guy.
Yeah, maybe.
In a very particular fashion. So, you know, there's that. But, you know, so there's something for everything for Cuphead. And, you know, if you like being frustrated day and night while holding a video game controller, you've got that. If you like old school cartoon stars, you've got that. If you like a bit of a singy song, it's got a bit of that in there, you know? So, yeah, but that's it for Twitter.
Okay, well, generally favourable reviews there.
Yeah.
No one's saying.
I mean, the dice head guy bit that's
questionable.
Whatever that means. Could also be very favourable. So,
as far as I'm aware, there's no negativity there towards the show.
That's right.
I must add that. Okay, well, yeah. Going back to what we were sort of saying before, so obviously it is good quality for saying they've put out that many episodes. But that's something, the quality, you know, obviously you can't avoid talking about the game, so we probably will keep talking. But in the game, that is the appeal, isn't it, really? Yeah. Is that it looks so much like an old cartoon and the way it was animated.
Yeah.
And this, it still feels like, it doesn't feel just like a modern cartoon, does it?
No.
It still has, like, it looks just like, it looks like an update, like an updated technologically.
I
don't know how to end that sentence and it makes sense.
It looks like a cartoon that has been updated technologically.
Yeah,
but it's from the old times. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. I got myself down a word hole there.
Yeah, I did. I was waiting to see how that sentence.
So how can I dig myself out of here? Nope. But yeah, it still it has all the charm, all the appeal, art style, and even seemingly like things you don't see in cartoons now as well.
Yeah.
And if you, obviously we've watched loads of old cartoons, both on the show and outside of it, I imagine.
Yeah.
There's so many nods.
Yeah.
To certain shows, so you've got like Fleischer cartoons, Disney cartoons, you know, Universal cartoons. They're all in here. You just have to sort of find them, and there'll be stuff that you don't even notice.
Yeah,
nods are made to. But you know, we've talked before many a time about the Betty Boop walrus.
Oh yeah.
And the ghost that we talked about at Halloween. There's definitely a lot of that in this.
Oh yeah.
Direct referencing as well. In the first episode, the song is like Minnie the Moocher-esque, isn't it?
It pretty much is Minnie the Moocher, yeah.
So
I thought he was going to go into a dance number as well, and it's like he starts one off actually, doesn't he? But he gets interrupted by his little minion. So like I feel like if he'd have been left to continue, his legs would have gone real wobbly.
Yeah,
in a way that makes you uncomfortable.
The devil in this, his body is the walrus's body.
Yeah.
And it's kind of puts you up like they've animated it in a more cartoonish style, so it isn't quite as jarring. But it's there. And interestingly, King Dice, I'm pretty sure is just Cab Calloway.
Yeah. Yeah, could well be.
And that whole episode, like I say, I've watched a few, but that whole episode there's loads. He has got a lot of Cab Calloway about it.
Right.
So there's definitely, and that's just to mention too.
There you go.
But yeah, it's got a lot. I think if you like old animation, there's a lot in it for you.
Yeah.
The only thing that I would say jars me quite a lot, and I kind of wanted to point this out, is upsettingly the theme tune.
Oh right, yeah.
And it's more like it could be good, but it sounds really whack. It's like someone slowed it down 0.5, turned the volume on the music down really low, and they've used like the wrong singer. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Or
yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah. It's just like the quality is not working to its advantage at that point.
No, dead weird. But that's a minor fault. I mean, was there anything you found that didn't quite reach open from it?
No, I think like I was trying to remember what pieces of the game are left in my brain, and I was like, it seems to follow like a slightly different. I think it's different way from the way things started in the game, but I don't even remember now. Like, I'm not even sure. I think that's what's weird about it, is like I feel like I've experienced some of this, but remember pretty much none of it. Yeah. And I remember there being like a fairground episode, like a level, with a big clown that you fight on the top of a roller coaster. And I was kind of waiting to see that guy, but he didn't turn up. But I'm guessing he's probably in a later episode or something. But I was just trying to sort of like, figure out, what was in the game or what wasn't. And other than that's not even really an issue. That's just me trying to just watching it from a particular perspective. But yeah, I enjoyed the little songs that they did. The way that it looks, I do really like that. Like, I love that they've just kind of put extra noise on top of it as well, so it just looks super old school. And the voice acting was decent as well. So it was all in tune with it, in line with what I was kind of expecting from the game. And I wasn't like gripping my controller like extra hard to the point that I may have broken components inside of it. So yeah, it was pleasant. It was weird to have that sort of you're eating your cake and having it too, really, with the Cuphead show, because pretty much what you went into the game for, you get out of the show, and there's no negative side effects. So it was almost like, it was like, taking a bad memory and then just making it right, really. So I feel like that there was a catharsis there that comes with it arrives if you've played the game. Whereas those that are just going straight into the Cuphead show, maybe their expectations are different, or they haven't got that weight on it. But for us that have experienced it, and I haven't even completed it, so well played to anyone who did. It's the thing you always wanted.
I don't think it's strange, in it, because it is like I've played it for less than 15 minutes, genuinely. So I was just so interested by the concept of it. But do you think anyone would kind of just see it not knowing about the games and go, I'm going to give this a go?
Yeah, maybe like, because it was popular within the gaming world, but not everyone plays games and stuff, so it would be interesting for those people that just dive straight into it. But I think it's still clearly
for all ages, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a I think.
It works as like just a base cartoon, and I think like it's. I like that, even though it's calling back to all these things, it has its own characters, and it has its own feel. It's like it takes that old style of cartoon that we've talked about before, and how much like we like it, and how much cartoons are kind of missing that charm that they used to have, where people where characters were just everyday objects like phones, flowers, cups. And things like that, and then they just did things like, today we're going to the fair, and then it gets out of hand in some way. Granted, it's about souls, but that's more a video game thing, I guess. But the devil being a villain, that's a kind of old thing as well, like the fear of the devil, but it has all those old things, but it feels dead original as well. Which is weird, because Cuphead is essentially Mickey Mouse with a mug on his head. Not necessarily in character, but visually. It still looks like its own thing.
Yeah, I think that's what's fun about it, is like it does, it ticks both those boxes, doesn't it? Like it's got all the stuff you kind of that is not popular anymore. You don't see it all the time, but it is like a new story and stuff. So it's you can go in and be like, oh, I don't know what's going to happen. It's not like, oh, this is just, I've seen this one. Like, so it's, I think that's what makes it fun. Like, because the characters are fun as well. Like, there's some really cool designs, and the environments look really nice. And you have got that mix of like, the very sort of toony, the bendy characters. I'm trying to think of what the actual word is for them, like the ink blots and the wobbly arm jollies. Clearly not had enough caffeine today. That mixed with like the very painterly kind of backgrounds and stuff as well, like it does make for a really nice show to watch. Like it's visually very, very pleasing, and something that's different, especially when so many kids shows now are leaning into CGI and stuff. It's got to be, if you didn't know about the game and you're scrolling through Netflix, like it's got to catch your eye, hasn't it? Really, like you're like, oh, that looks different, even if you didn't know that it was from like old cartoons. It looks so different now. I think the only thing is like if it wasn't in color, I think that'd be the only other thing it could add, really, that it'd be like, oh wow, this really is old school. But I like that it is in color, to be honest.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think what it does is it reminds you of that sort of classic cartoon imagination, and it refreshes you. It's like, oh man, it reminds you that it's animated.
Yeah.
And says, look at all the cool stuff we can do with this. Which, like you say, like now it's just like go CG.
Yeah.
People like to look at it more. And how can you make that look like a cartoon in the same way and stuff? Whereas this just is so proud of the fact that it's classic animation.
Yeah, and I think with the CG stuff as well, you lose a lot of that sort of physicality that this type of cartoon has, because you've like when it's 3D, you've got to make those objects interact with each other in all those weird ways. And I mean, some shows obviously go the extra mile and make sure that happens, but it's not as simple as like in this, when they have breakfast, he wants to share, so he cuts all the way through his pancakes and the plate in one go. Cuts in half, and it's like, oh, that's so like it's so smooth the way that it happens, and like in this type of animation, it's like it's almost, you don't even really second guess it. You're like, yeah, of course, and like, of course.
You're just like it makes you laugh, but at the same time, you accept it straight off the bat. You're not like, oh man, what's going on? Yeah. You're just like, haha, yeah, that's good.
It's really nice to be brought back into that world again, where like the constraints of everything have kind of disappeared. You can pretty much do what you want, and it's all within the realm of possibilities. Whereas, as we go steps and steps towards realism, that's going to go away, really. Like that's essentially, I mean, it's not entirely, because obviously nowadays we've got lots of different stylized 3D animations and stuff like that, but the walk that we're making is that we're going, this is what some guy made out of his head, and he drew it down on a piece of paper, and it can do anything, and we're slowly walking towards like we want everything to be as realistic as possible, we want that to look like a real human, and that to look like real fur, and and so it is kind of, it's really nice to have this, and
I think that's why films like like Mitchell's versus the Machine, and even Spider-Man, Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah.
Like they lean into this. So Spider-Man's obviously more comic-y, but Mitchell's versus the Machine was really cartoonish, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's why people like it so much, because it's almost like a dying art.
Yeah, it does feel like that way.
Yeah. Something else about this as well. I don't know if it was in the first episode, but sometimes the backgrounds are like real backgrounds.
Right.
So they'll do things where it's more like models that have been built.
Oh, really?
They move across, which is what they used to do in like Fleischer cartoons.
Yeah.
So again, it's just a really nice detail where it's like it's not CG, it's still, you know, classic animation, but it just adds another element that gives that sort of old school feel of how much work they used to put into these 2D cartoons.
Yeah.
You know, just to make it different, and it adds, like, again, that classic feel, and it's so charming to see. Just really cool. Yeah, I don't know if Hell was maybe a little bit like that at times, but
maybe
it is in some of the later episodes. It's worth
really
keeping
cool.
an eye out for.
Yeah,
it looks really cool. Okay, well, you know, we've discussed it, so shall we move on to the mystery that is our review?
Yeah.
Welcome to the Cuphead Show. Welcome to the Cuphead Show. 48 episodes. Welcome to the Cuphead Show. Okay, so here at Toon Jam, if you don't already know, we have a 3-point rating system that goes as follows. Thumbs up, going all in on a style. Feet first, dive in, straight in,
Splash.
get everything done. Thumbs down, making the game so hard that no one could play it. And shaky middle, feelings towards King Dice.
Still up in the air.
Yeah. So
who knows?
Good, bad, pretty much as it stands in the middle, whatever, you know. So, okay, the Cuphead Show. Your thoughts?
Yeah. Yeah, I think any show that's sort of like got its own thing, and that it's sort of, it knows what it's doing, and it does that 110%. I think, you know, there's definitely something admirable there, and this is obviously very much that. You know, the Cuphead game out of the way, the show is still really fun, and it's fun to watch. The characters are fun. The story's nice. You've got some nice audio, and it did make me laugh as well. Like the guy that kept coming to the gate, like, "Hey boys, what's going on?" Like every time that happened, I genuinely laughed out loud. So yeah, it's a fun show, and obviously it's got all that appeal of the old cartoons and stuff. And, you know, a lot of things that are, you know, maybe not lost entirely, but we're slowly making our way out there. So it's nice to sort of have that back with something new. You know, it's not just like a remake of something, or it's, you know, it's a different story, new characters, new situations, but it's in the era and in the sort of, you know, the weird, wacky cartoon realm of the good times, you know. So yeah, I think it was fun to watch, and I haven't really got any gripes with it at all. So I'll be watching all 48 by the end of the year. So yeah, thumbs up from me.
Ooh, thumbs up. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this show was everything I wanted it to be, really. You know, I feel like someone, you know, like a kid that's not allowed to take part in something. Maybe you know, there was a Batman film that it was a 15 when you were a kid, and it's like, oh man, I want to watch that, and then one comes out for you, and spot on. That's what I feel like with Cuphead. It was exactly what I wanted. The show, it's got plenty of callbacks to classic cartoons. It's a modern version of them, so it's new stuff for you. It's kind of something that, in a way, I suppose when you think about it, it's something you've never really got to experience being around at the time that it was made. if you wanted to go deep on it, but then, maybe not. But we've seen other things. We've seen other things like it, where they've tried to recreate classics. The most recent I'm thinking of is the Looney Tunes show. But for us, at least, it didn't quite capture what we were kind of after. Whereas this, I think, is a perfect balance of old and new. Has all the old animation styles, art style, but I guess with updated humour. It has, it sounds silly, but silly faces that you see in cartoons now, that seems to be a running thing, just faces being pulled, which seems to work. I don't know why, it's hilarious, but it is. And stuff like that. It has that, modern humours and classic humours in there that will entertain. I think it should entertain anyone really that is at least, interested in the idea of it. So what can I give it but a thumbs up? And I too will be watching all 48.
All 48
when available. So I mean, what better review can you give it than just carrying on watching it?
Yeah.
So 2 thumbs up.
Okay, that.
Super fresh.
Which is not what I would have given the game.
No, no, agreed. So there you go. It got its second chance and it gave us what we wanted. But what did you think at home? Maybe you disagreed. Maybe you thought, guys, you're too in the world of it. You're too accepting. This is why I didn't like it. Well, you can tell us on the 3 boss levels of the internet: Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at ToonJamPod. And we're always happy to take suggestions and recommendations for new episodes too. So if there's anything else you want us to cover, just let us know. We always love to hear from you on those things. If you want to hear more of our old episodes, you can do so over on YouTube. We have plenty of episodes on there to fill your time. And you can find us again at ToonJamPod. We also have a Patreon for bonus episodes, and we're currently on the theme of in space, so we're getting spacey. Not Kevin, but
yeah, not Kevin.
Obvious reasons. But in space. But yeah, so if that intrigues you, head over there, get yourself some bonus episodes. We also have a merchandise store, which is bit.ly/ToonJam shop, and you can get all sorts of quirky t-shirts and mugs and things on there, so check that out. Otherwise, just share it with a friend. Rate and review us. That's the free and easiest way to help us out, and we really appreciate it. But otherwise, thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and until next time, you stay jammy.
Hey everyone, thank you for listening. If you want to help the show keep going, you can be extra jammy by heading over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/ToonJamPod. Here you can get a shout out on the show or unlock bonus episodes. Ratings and reviews anywhere you listen to the podcast also really help us out. So thank you, and stay jammy.